What's going on, car nerds? Welcome back to the Feel for Thought podcast, to episode 37 already. Episode 37. Kevin, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about the new, exciting Ferrari 12 Cilindri.
12 Cilindri. Again, we need some Italians in the crowd to tell us how to pronounce that. Cilindri. Yeah, it's also just one word. It's like the number 12, and then the Cilindri is just stuck to it. So it could just be 12 Cilindri. You just kind of say it as one. But anyway, this is great news because I thought the 812 was going to be the last V12 Ferrari, or at least that type of Ferrari with those crazy numbers. But they've brought out yet another one. So today I just kind of want to cover what's different between this and the 812, some things that are the same, and we'll talk about kind of the styling and what we think about that and what it means for the future of V12s. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, I'll pop a photo up here, but what do you think of how it looks?
I mean, it's tough because I feel like anytime a new car comes out, I'm not used to it. It takes a while to appreciate, because I know, let's take for example I was gonna say the M4 with the big wheels, but I still don't like it.
It's gonna take a little longer.
Let's say the Revuelto. I wasn't sure initially because the Aventador is just such a beautiful car. I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I feel like now I've kind of grown into it. And I'm sure once we start seeing them in person,
that's what I was just going to say. Yeah.
We'll start to be more like, okay, I can get behind it.
Exactly, because that's actually when I started liking the Revuelto as well, when we saw it at Lamborghini Montreal, because that was super cool. I was there that second day.
It wasn't out then.
Yeah. Which one do we see?
That was the Sion.
Fuck, they're all blending together. What's the Revuelto? I don't even fucking remember.
Revuelto is the replacement to the Aventador. The Sion's the limited, super limited, first hybrid Lamborghini.
Forget anything I said. I don't even know what it looks like, so never mind. I like the Sion. There you go. Probably still don't like the Revuelto. But yeah, the point here is that seeing things in person is better, because I still don't really like the look of this, the 12 Cilindri, but I feel like you said, I feel like once you see it in person, that's when it becomes more real, but especially if you see it being driven. I find that is the number one time where I'm like, damn, it kind of looks good in the wild, You just see it drive by, it doesn't look as crazy.
I get where Ferrari came from, because they do this often. They want to bring it back to their heritage. And so for this one, especially the front end, they took a big inspiration from the Ferrari Daytona.
I like that, yeah. Which
is one of the all-time most sought-after Ferrari.
And again, they're just doing something that's in the spirit of motorsport, and the whole car community is bringing it back to those old feelings, right? So it's kind of sweet that they're doing that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best news about this all is that it is a replacement for the 812, and there was some speculation that it might be a hybrid or maybe a smaller engine, maybe fully electric, but they're back again with full and swinging with a fully powered V12. They were able to do some interesting things. Let me read it out what it is exactly. Titanium connecting rods they put in there, and non-hydraulic valve trains. No idea what that is, but it helps it meet emission standards, and that's all that matters. So it means they could keep the V12, and that's what I care about. So that's great, yeah. But the coolest thing about this is too that it isn't really too much different than the 812.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of differences. It might look different. There's a couple of small differences which I'll touch on, but it almost seems like they're just trying to keep this V12 trend kind of in our minds, and also with the name. I don't know, what do you think? Do you think it's the last V12? It's kind of the whole name talks about the V12, so do you think it might be the last one?
I'm impressed that they got away with it, because as we're seeing with Lamborghini, the Revuelto is a hybrid.
Yeah.
And the Huracan replacement, which hasn't been released yet, but I think it has been confirmed that it's going to be a V8 twin turbo. So very, very few cars nowadays are coming out with just NA engines.
Yeah.
No hybrid assistance, no anything like that. So for the fact that Ferrari is now releasing that, I'm impressed.
It is, yeah. It's especially like V10, okay, but like V12. These things are the dirtiest gas guzzling things you can imagine.
I feel though like they can only fudge the emissions for this long.
Yeah.
I really don't know how they.
But then again, it is Ferrari, right? Like they fudged numbers before production car numbers. If you haven't watched that episode, go check that out. But it wouldn't surprise me if they tried to fudge production numbers for this too, or emission numbers.
Emissions.
Yeah. Like, hey, Volkswagen, how do we do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I can see them doing that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We can buy one eventually, if we have enough money, and that's all that matters. So, yeah, but let's dive into some specs here. One thing before we dive into the specs. The cool thing is it comes with 21-inch wheels as stock instead of 20. So it comes with these huge wheels as stock. So that's another pretty cool thing. Obviously for the price point, pretty worthwhile. Speaking of price point, it's starting at $423,000 US, and that's for the coupe version or the coupe version. And the Spider version is $466,000. So you're paying a $40K premium to not have a roof. So less material, more expensive.
But
reinforcement.
To be fair, I think, in my opinion, I know how you feel about convertibles, but I feel like Ferrari is the only...
They do have it down.
Yeah, it's the only manufacturer that makes a convertible look almost as good as the coupe.
It's true. Like they don't chop off half the car just to make it look.
Or soft tops.
Yeah, exactly.
That just looks like shit. Like
have a roof or don't. Don't have some in between mesh crap that's doesn't really make any sense.
Like I gotta say the 458. In my opinion, I would prefer the Spider because it looks better than the coupe.
I don't like how it's where the engine is. It's just like a metal panel. That's the only thing I don't like about it. But for the rest, yeah, I agree. It looks pretty good. I'm still not a huge fan, but anyway, I digress. But yeah, obviously, this car kind of is obviously, although I still don't like what it looks like per se, I still just love the idea that they're celebrating the V12. It's kind of like a special thing, especially for Ferrari, with the whole F1 history and everything, and that it really did start that way with big V12s and everything, and it's still kind of going on. So that's a really great thing that they're continuing to do. But yeah, in terms of specs, and so horsepower wise, they've gone up a little bit. They're at 819 now, 819 horsepower instead of 789. So about a 30 horsepower increase, which is pretty impressive, honestly, from a naturally aspirated V12. I'm starting to think they might not be able to push past this with an NA V12. It's already pretty insane, 800 horsepower. I don't even know what that power band would feel like. I feel like most people experience that kind of power with turbos or a supercharger, but to think about a Hellcat has that kind of power, right?
Yeah, but being that it's NA, I feel like it would be kind of tamed at the start.
True.
Off the line, but then once you get in the higher RPMs, that's kind of it really comes to life and really screams.
But also just keeps going. I could feel that too. It just keeps pushing. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. It seems like wind doesn't exist and air friction doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. It'd be really cool to drive one of these.
For sure.
One day soon, hopefully. But yeah, torque wise, it's actually gone down very interestingly. So I don't know, maybe the acceleration doesn't feel as fast. I don't know if 30 foot-pounds really is gonna move the needle, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like I guess with the RPM, we'll get into that a bit later.
Yeah.
I feel like it's pretty much the same engine. They refined it more to be higher higher end of the peak power instead of focusing more down low. So they you can't max everything out. It has to be you give something here but you take something from here. So exactly. I feel like that's kind of what happened.
Now that you say that, 30 more horsepower, 30 less torque.
Yeah.
There you go. So, but I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Because horsepower is for top speed, and foot-pounds is for the torque is for the low end for the acceleration. So that definitely makes a lot of sense. And speaking of the RPMs, that is kind of the beauty of this one. So it went from 8,900 RPM redline with the 812 to now 9,500.
That's crazy.
It is pretty crazy. And they got forged pistons, which made this possible. Because even F1 cars struggle to get over 10K. So 9,500 is ridiculous. How hard is the GT3 RS rev?
think it's 9,000 or 9,200.
Yeah, like that's nuts that this revs to 95.
But I like this direction because same with the Revuelto. That one is also above 9,000 RPM. It's similar to this range. So we're getting like now 2 brand new V12 Italians.
It's pretty insane.
With high revving V12s.
I am not complaining.
I like. We were seeing the trend of the manufacturers like switching to smaller engine and like hybrids, and that's kind of what I feel like the car community was just like bummed out. Like,
yeah,
this is our future. We the Aventador replacement or super fast replacement are just going to be some boring hybrid that has to meet emissions. But no, like the Italians are like, screw that. We're doing these things, exciting, fun cars, and I'm really happy with that.
And that's where the naturally aspirated thing comes in too, because that can just make it rev so high. Because when you have turbos, you're at a limit, right? You're at a certain amount of RPM, the turbos are kind of useless. So
I think it's also just the fact that it muffles.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. That's the other thing.
It can sound nice, but like most turbo cars are not loud.
The exception is like a Koenigsegg, but I mean, like other than that, if you just have like a stock like AMG with the bi-turbos, like it's very muffled. Like you don't hear a lot of the V8. Like it snarls, sure, but like an NA V8 does not sound the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, other than that, 0 to 200 speed 7.9 seconds hasn't changed. Top speed of 340 has not changed. 0 to 60 2.9 seconds hasn't changed. So nothing in terms of actual like times or top speed or anything has changed in that respect from the 812. So it really just is about kind of shifting away from acceleration to top speed. That's kind of what it seems like. And again, with that RPM change. And of course, that whole redesign towards the older Ferrari models, the Daytonas and stuff. So that just about sums it up. Honestly, really love this idea. I hope the design grows on me because, I mean, it's already kind of growing. Like the back end looks phenomenal. The front end is what I'm kind of struggling with. But
even the back end, I don't understand. Like, you know,
the glasses,
black stripes above the tail. Like,
that is one thing I don't love. Like,
I don't get it.
It's kind of weird. There's no like the back window kind of fits in with the like part that goes to the back of the car.
Yeah, but that's a body panel right here.
Yeah, exactly. So is there even a window? I can't even tell. Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a.
But they could have just made it red and like continue the line.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like it ends abruptly.
Interesting. Yeah, am I just trying to be different or something? I think they are just trying to get like this like V shape kind of in the middle. I don't know.
Ferrari's very well known for, because the F12 had like a vagina shape.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's actually pretty cool though, because that was all for like wind. Sure, wind. You know, they're just he's trying to make tribute to his wife or whatever. But anyway, but yeah, no, like they do find ways to make these cars look like really unique and obviously like air management is first.
You can definitely tell it's different from the A12. Like that's it's not a facelift. It's
exactly
a new car.
But if you compare this to like the F12, like it's huge. Like the changes it's gone through since then.
For sure.
It's pretty impressive, but also like in a good way. Like they're not ruining it with the new design, like the BMW grills. Like they're keeping it reasonable to a point where like it still looks phenomenal and looks like a sports car. So I mean, God, I love these cars.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing one in real life, because
actually
these are just renders.
Yeah, I was just gonna mention. I was looking on Auto Trader at GT4 Lusos, and they've come down in price quite a bit. So I saw one listed for $220.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, it's pretty much, if you guys don't know which one that is, that's like the Ferrari FF, which is the F12 version. They always come in like I guess like a saloon version, like a bigger version, and then there's like the sports car version. So it's like a coupe and I don't know. It might be something like a coupe. Is it a coupe?
I think it's a shooting brake, technically.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a 2-door wagon.
Okay, yeah, so 2-door wagon, but so the FF was with like the F12 and the FF was together, and then the 812 and the GTC Ford Lusso. So
yeah, the interesting thing though, the GT4 Lusso, for 2 years they have the V12, and then the other 2 or 3 years that production was happening, they switched to I think it was a V8 twin turbo.
Oh really? I didn't even know that. Huh.
So the first 2 years of production is what you should
definitely.
go for.
I think this was an older one actually, so yeah, but hey, it might be able to get one of these screaming V12 sooner than we think. That'd be awesome.
The thing that we skipped on this is the price point though.
True, yeah. So if we touch back on that, I mentioned the price of this one, but not of the 812. So the 812 is actually a little bit more expensive, which is crazy. you don't really hear newer products becoming cheaper, especially with inflation these days. So the 812 base price MSRP was 434,000 US, and this one's now down to 423 for the base model. So minuscule in the price point. 10K is nothing, but still, it kind of shows they're actively, maybe trying to get it a little bit cheaper to get into the everyday man. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the thing that I like about this is they're going down in price, whereas Aventador to Revuelto, the Revuelto is 300,000 more than the Aventador.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, this is a huge, because the Revuelto is like 800,000.
Yeah.
So this is like,
I mean, even with the higher red line, all the forged internals and stuff they've done, like, it's pretty impressive.
this is a much better deal at that
Definitely.
point.
Yeah, I would definitely get this.
About the same. The Lambo has a bit more horsepower and torque because it is a hybrid.
Exactly.
But like, you're paying almost double.
Yeah, it's actually wild. And the craziest thing up here in Canada is where the prices get kind of ridiculous because you get the exchange rate. So if we look at the base model, it starts at 580,000. And then if you get the Spider, which is 466 US, you get it for $638,000 Canadian.
That's
just getting the shaft up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canada, become American. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's probably a bunch of other, because now we have luxury tax in Canada.
Even better.
So
Coming harder and harder.
Yeah, that to anyone, I think it even applies to used cars now. There's some loopholes you can do, but you get an extra tax for buying things that aren't necessary.
Nice. So yeah, it's money that you've already paid tax on, and you're taxed again for buying something that's a little nicer.
Yeah, that's why people incorporate or do shell corporation.
Makes sense. I'm curious how many euros these things cost. You could just go to Italy, buy one there, and drive it in Europe.
Yeah.
Never know. Anyway, to end on a shitty note. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's good, but 12 Cylindri. I'm really excited to see these things at car shows, and hopefully there's some driving around by late summer. I don't know when this is supposed to come out, actually, or if it has already come out. But hopefully we see them, and then hopefully we can post some pictures. And maybe do a follow-up episode after we've seen that to say we like it. But anyways.
Could put the Revuelto in this head-to-head once we've heard it and seen it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Curious
how they would stack up, actually. Price-wise, this would definitely win. But
100%, yeah.
All right, cool. That was episode 37. Anything you want to add? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
Goodbye.